Hi, my name is Bob. As you can tell, I got a cold. Can you hear me all right? Well, many people, when they get a car, they want to get out and drive it right away. But I'm kind of weird. I'm kind of different. One of the things I enjoy is coming back and after I get a new car and I read the manual. I love manuals. First of all, if you want to learn how to turn on the windshield wipers when it rains, it becomes very important sometimes to read a manual because you never know where those darn things are going to be. And when I brought up a computer, right away I started looking for manuals for computers. I'm loaded with these books on dummies for internet and internet for dummies and Microsoft Word for dummies, et cetera, So I'm that kind of a guy, and Paul knows I am. I'm very dependent upon manuals. Some guys can wing it and just learn by all the things they do and explore the internet and explore everything. Me, I got to read a book on it. Anyway, I thank God that when Jesus Christ died and resurrected, he left us a manual. Now, when it comes to reading the Bible, I think it's very important to pick a time. You got to commit yourself. Any kind of relationship you want to grow in, you have to commit yourself to some time with that person. And if you want to grow with God, you got to commit yourself some time to read that Bible, okay? And I love what the church teaches, that when you pray, you talk to God. When you read the Bible, you give God a chance to talk to you. So the first thing is to pick out a time. Well, I don't know about you guys. It sounds like everybody else. I too have to find time in the morning. With 6 kids and working a long day, the only time it's quiet for me is to get up in the morning. And I hate to get up in the morning. In fact, in the beginning, for a while, I was scared to death. I was scared to death I wouldn't be able to do it. And you know what I found out helped me? The night before when I went to bed, I prayed that I would get up in the morning okay. And it worked. It really did. And eventually it got easier, and it made my day. And then I pick not only the time, but how much time. I would say in the beginning, 15 minutes. You don't want to burn yourself out. Make it easy. 15 minutes isn't too bad to spend with God, And then the third thing is about spending time. There's sometimes we measure success by how much we read, but that's not true of the Bible. You could just read one sentence and spend the whole 15 minutes on it, okay? It's quality time, not quantity time. So just don't be worried, don't be in a hurry, just dwell on it. Drink it like a wine, okay? Sip it, savor it. Anyway, then talking about a locality, I've got this big, comfortable chair. It's a wingback, and I sit into it. And I got Ottoman. When you're old, you love to put your feet up. I got a 3-way light switch. When you're old, your eyes are not as strong. You turn it on to the 100 watts or 150, whatever it is, And then this wingback has a nice little, skirt on it. And my wife is kind of a neat freak, and I'm kind of a slob. And we kind of compromise. I hide everything under that skirt. But I got everything I need under that skirt. I got a Bible. I used to keep a concordance under there. I keep a notebook, a pen, and a pair of glasses when you get to be my age. Okay, and the first thing when it comes to you got to have some spiritual preparation and things to bring with you. One of the things I bring is a cup of coffee. I'm serious. Coffee and conversation go together with me. When I come to talk to God and listen to him talk to me, I'd like to sip coffee. It might be Coke for you, but something you might to wet your whistle. But anyway, the other thing is, in terms of spiritual preparation, you're coming into the presence of God. You're coming into the awe of God. And you should always come in there with a kind of timidity and, with a kind of expectant faith. And one of the things I do to help me get into that mood is I kiss the Word of God. And it really adds a dimension for my preparation, spiritual preparation for reading the Bible. And the last thing I want to give you is a little explanation in the Bible of what I feel like you have to come to with the Bible to really understand it, to really encounter God. There is a story about Jairus in Luke 8, chapter 8, verse 40 through 48. And Jairus is home. The people are all crowded in on Jesus, And this one woman spent her whole livelihood to try to cure herself of this bleeding problem and never could cure it. And she snuck in there and came behind Jesus. And she said, if I just touch the hem of his garment, I'll be healed. Now, when she did that, Jesus did an awesome thing. He turned around and said, who touched me? And Peter looked at him being very practical. Peter said, Lord, there's a crowd of people all crowding around you. You're shaking hands and everything else. How can you say who touched you? Just think. All those people were touching Jesus Christ. All those people were shaking hands, touching his skin, touching his body. All those people were touching the source of salvation, the source of life, the source of power, the source of mercy, the source of the meaning of life. But all they were touching was a man, because that's all they had faith for. with this one woman who didn't even touch his skin, just a little piece of cloth, maybe made by Levi Strauss or somebody else. She just touched that. And when she touched that, she was healed. And it's interesting how Jesus, when Peter said, how can you say who touched you? He identified that touch in a very unique way. He says, I felt power come out of me. Now that's neat. You know, all of a sudden you feel about this God, you know, that when somebody comes to him in faith, he almost can't help himself, that he will respond to that faith. You know, I love that. In Hebrews it says that you can't please God unless you come to him in faith and believe that he exists and he rewards those who come to him, seek him. Okay? So then she touched him with faith. And she touched the power of God, the life of God. And I'm telling you, when you come to this Bible, you can just say, hey, it's printed by the Catholic press. It's just made by wood, papered into wood, or etc. But the beauty of it is, you come to it in faith, and I mean this. You encounter a living God. You encounter the power of God. You encounter a word that goes inside, deep inside you, that takes root, and it will change your life forever. Thank you.